Hey, so you're thinking of moving to Kansas City. Well, before you pack those bags and make that big move, make sure you watch this video because I'm going to share with you the top 9 things that Kansas Cityans know that outsiders just don't. What's up, everybody? This is Justin Berry with the Plains Paris Real Estate Team right here in Kansas City. This is your first time to our channel and you literally want to know everything there is to know about eating, living, sleeping, playing, and what all the locals know that the outsiders don't so you don't stand out like a sore thumb. Go ahead, hit that button and ring that bell. That way you're notified every time we do one of these new videos. Honestly, we get calls every week from people thinking about moving to the Kansas City area, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving our way as well, make sure you go ahead and give us a call, a text, an email, send us a Yahoo Messenger message, whatever you're comfortable with, because when it comes to moving to Kansas City, know that we've got your back. All right, here are the 9 things that you have to know about living in Kansas City so you don't stand out like a sore thumb and everybody knows instantly that you are an outsider. This one is number 9. Make sure you stay for number 1 because if you miss number 1, everybody's absolutely going to know that you don't know anything about Kansas City and you're not from here. Number 9, everyone calls our airport KCI. It's not KCI, it's MCI. You're not allowed to use a K because K is for broadcasting, and M's are designated for the airports, says the FCC, right? But everybody here is still gonna call it KCI, and everybody from outside of the area is gonna say, I flew out of MCI. All right. The number 8 thing you should know about living in Kansas City so you don't stand out like a sore thumb is that Kansas City is known as the Paris of the Plains. It's one of my favorite facts. It's the namesake of my company, Plains Paris. And basically, in the 1920s, prohibition's going on, but Kansas City largely ignored it and allowed all these speakeasies to exist. You'll actually find some of these speakeasies in Kansas City today. We'll do a video on it on how you can book those with secret passages or passwords that get you into the secret passages that are hidden in the secret speakeasies that are underneath the hotels in our city. Super cool stuff. But Paris of the Plains comes from this newspaper out of Chicago who was writing about everybody going there and partying and living it up and how it's Sin City and it's the Paris of the Plains. I think it's super cool. I love it. And many Kansas Cityans know that story. If you know it, you're going to fit right in. All right. The number 7 thing that you have to know about living in Kansas City so you don't stand out like a sore thumb as an outsider is that Kansas City is part of Missouri and Missouri is the show me state. That means if you love telling real big stories, don't be surprised when somebody says, really? That's super cool. Show me. All right, the number 6 thing that you need to know so that you can fit in well in Kansas City is that Kansas City has the city market. It's this year-round farmers market. You can go there on any Saturday and Sunday. There's going to be tons of great deals on produce. Also, this should be in our video about why Kansas City is so cheap to live. Everybody loves going to the city market and nobody goes there and leaves with empty hands. Okay, the number 5 thing you need to know about living in Kansas City so that you don't stand out like an outsider is that Kansas City is the city of fountains. With more than 200 fountains all over the city, you're bound to run into one everywhere you go. So the Bellagio has nothing on this city. It's pretty cool if you look around times we're going to the World Series or times we're in the Super Bowl or these big events that happen in the city, they're going to dye in different colors like red for the Chiefs, blue for the Royals, or green for St. Patrick's Day. Then in the winter, there's a few of those fountains they leave on intentionally just to make these huge ice sculptures, and the kids love to go out and see them. All right, the number 4 thing that you must know about living in Kansas City so you don't stand out like a sore thumb is that while we're close to the Bible Belt, the only universally accepted religion in our city is going to be Patrick Mahomes. He is, figuratively speaking, the closest thing we have to a living God, and he really is, honestly, Kansas City's hometown hero. He takes number 1. Paul Rudd does take a close second, so you also don't want to say anything negative about Paul Rudd. You'd be surprised who's got his back. All right, the number 3 thing that you need to know so you don't stand out like a sore thumb in Kansas City is that Kansas City, while it used to be a cow town, it's not a farm town. 8,500 square miles makes up our metropolitan area. There's over 2.2 million people. Doesn't leave a lot of room for cows and farms. Yeah, you might find this occasional little spot that has never been developed. By and large, you're not going to see farms here. So if you show up expecting to see farms when you land, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Okay, the number 2 thing that you need to know about living in Kansas City and not standing out like an outsider is that Shuttlecocks, they're a pretty big deal here, but nobody knows how to play badminton. That's because if you visit the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, our amazing art gallery, you will see out front these huge shuttlecocks. They're supposed to be actual size if the Nelson Atkins Museum were the badminton net. Now, very few Kansas Cityans know that, but they do know that shuttlecocks are a big deal and nobody really knows why. But that's why, so now you might actually know a little bit more than the average Kansas Cityan. All right, the number 1 thing you need to know about living in Kansas City so you don't stand out like an outsider is that Kansas City really isn't in Kansas. See, there was a time where Missouri was the furthest west state in the Union, and they had a town called Kansas City, which was next to Kansas Territory. It was like the gateway to Kansas Territory. Later on, Kansas becomes a state, and they make a city that adjoins Kansas City, and they had to come up with a name, and they got really clever and just stole Kansas City, Missouri's name and called it Kansas City, Kansas. They are 2 totally different cities, and Kansas City, Kansas is much smaller than the larger Kansas City, Missouri. So if you really want to fit in and not stand out and not let everybody know that you're not a local, you should know Kansas City is Kansas City, Missouri. Well, that wraps up our first installment of the 9 things you have to know about living in Kansas City. If you know these 9 things, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be able to fit right in and nobody's going to know the wiser, so make sure you study up. If you think we missed something or we should have included another one, please comment it down below. We're going to make another set of these videos and we're going to keep pumping these videos out. So if we missed something, you think we got something right, comment below. Love to hear from you. And also, if you're thinking about moving to the Kansas City area, again, go ahead and reach out, give us a call, text, email, message us again on Yahoo Messenger, whatever's convenient for you. Again, know that when you're moving to Kansas City that we've got your back.